For the first mask, which is a tie-dye mask, I'm using the sleeve of a white t-shirt as my raw material. I'm just crunching it up and putting it in a bowl. We are going all natural here because I'm using turmeric as our natural tie-dye to dye the fabric. When I was in the 6th grade, I did a science experiment on acids, bases, and indicators. Turmeric is a natural indicator, and when it comes in contact with a base, it turns red. The soap that we use is a base, so I rubbed some soap on the turmeric infused fabric and it turned red. This scientific information is important to us because I wanted the tie-dye color to be pink, and I thought rubbing soap on turmeric would give me that permanent pink color. To ensure that the color stays reddish pink, I washed my fabric, and to my disappointment, all the red color was gone. So I tried another attempt. I repeated the process. This time I got a nice pink color instead of the harsh reddish pink color. But when I washed it, the pink was all gone. It took me a while to realize that the pink color is only there because of the soap. Once you wash the fabric, the soap washes away and the color vanishes. This was a disappointing revelation. I bet 6th grade me is laughing at adult me while dancing to Avril Lavigne songs. But this adult is not giving up. I convinced this adult that the burnt yellow color of the turmeric is not that bad of a color. Pretending that yellow was my first choice, I added some more turmeric and left the fabric as it is for an entire day. The result was pretty good. I repeated the same tie-dye procedure on another sleeve, but I got impatient and I didn't leave it to tie-dye for an entire day, so it's just plain yellow. I'm going to pretend that this was intentional and use this fabric as the inner lining of the mask. This way, nothing goes to waste and my mask is thick and contains a lot of turmeric. Now I cut open the sleeve by cutting along the side edge. Then I cut the upper hemmed edge of the sleeve as it was looking ugly. A little inspection of the mask showed me that the upper side of the mask has an interesting tie-dye pattern and I want that portion to be on my mask. So I'm going to cut some fabric from the bottom. I have folded the bottom part to show where I'm going to cut it. With the sleeve folded in half, I'm marking how wide I want my mask to be with pins, and I marked how long I want it to be on the sides. Then I cut the bottom and I cut along the sides to get the mask pattern. I traced this cutout mask pattern on the failed tie-dye sleeve fabric and I cut another pattern. Okay, now I'm placing the pieces right sides together and zigzag stitching along the top and bottom edges. Then I would flip the stitched pieces inside out to hide the sewing lines. However, I got carried away and I stitched along the sides as well, preventing me from flipping the pieces inside out. If I had seam ripped the sides, I would have been able to flip the pieces inside out and everything would have gone just as I had planned. But the mask looked good as it is, so I just decided not to seam rip and I just went with it. Now the mask needed some curvature to it because when I tried it on, the top part just fell off my nose. To add some shape to this flat mask, I pinched some fabric at the top and took it in. I just estimated how much it needs to be taken in. No measurements involved here, just pin where you want to fold it in and stitch along that line. Now cut out the taken in fabric or else it would brush against your nose unnecessarily. I cut along the edges to give them a cleaner look. Fortunately, this fabric isn't fraying, so I can just leave the edges raw. Now from the cutout sleeve fabric, I'm cutting out the hemmed edge. I'll be using this to form the ear loops. First, I flip the hemmed edge inside out to hide the stitches. Attach a safety pin to one end not all the way through, but just to one side, and then put the safety pin inside the loop and try to get the safety pin to come out of the loop from the other side. I cut 2 small pieces long enough to go around my ears and zigzag stitch them onto the mask. Overall, the tie-dye pattern looks good and I am happy with the result. For the next mask, I am just using these cutout fabric pieces. I've shown the exact measurements for this pattern in my previous video. I'm using 2 pink pieces and 2 grey pieces. The grey pieces would form the inner lining of the mask. Place the pink pieces one over the other and stitch along the curved line and repeat the same for the grey pieces. Then open both the pieces and place them one over the other. Fold all the edges in and zigzag stitch over them to hem all the edges. I took some lacy fabric and placed my mask, which is folded in half, over it. Then I folded the lacy fabric over the mask and made sure it covered the upper half portion of the mask. Then with some seam allowance, I cut the lacy fabric along the edges of the mask. I pinned the lacy fabric on the mask along the edges. If your mask has a lot of curvature, then you would need to pull out some extra lacy fabric from the top to make up for it. Now stitch along the edges. I cut 2 small loops to attach the mask and stitch them onto the mask. This pretty and elegant mask is ready. For the next mask, I am tracing one half of a mask that already fits me onto some grey fabric. On this mask, I am going to do some embroidery on one side. This is the first time I am attempting to do some embroidery and I am super intimidated by the process. I drew some circles on the mask. They would be the guide for some roses. I am using the wagon wheel method. You first make 5 edges from the center to the perimeter of the circle. You can make 3 or 5 or 7 or 9 if you want, but they have to be odd numbered. Then pull out your thread from the middle and go under one line or edge or thread, I don't know, and then over the next edge and under the next edge and over the other and under the other, and basically repeat this cycle over and over again until you get something that resembles a rose. I did a couple extra stitches along the perimeter to hide the circle marks. For the next rose, I started by doing a couple of French knots in the middle. Initially, I couldn't get them right. The key is to hold the thread tightly in one hand while you pull out the needle on the inside with your other hand. Then I did some stem stitches on my flower. This one was a little bit harder than the wagon wheel rose. I don't think I did a good job on this rose, so I'm not even going to try to explain it. For the white rose, I just used the simple and easy wagon wheel method. Then I drew some leaves around the flowers, 2 leaves. two leaves around the flowers. For the leaves, I used the fishtail method, and I actually did the fishtail in the opposite direction for this leaf. It doesn't look bad, it just looks upside down or opposite. Then I did some French knots all over the design to take some attention away from the outside down or oppositely positioned leaf. The embroidery is done, and now I'm cutting the other half of the mask in the grey fabric and two more halves in the pink fabric. I placed the grey pieces over the pink ones and then placed the two already placed pieces over one another and stitched along the curved edge. I opened everything up and now I folded the edges in and zigzag stitched on them. I cut out a long piece of grey fabric for our ear loops. I folded the rectangular piece in half and pinned it. Then I stitched along the open edges. Once that's stitched, I flipped the piece inside out to hide the stitched lines. After cutting two small ear loops, I stitched them onto the mask, and this mask is ready. I hope you liked the masks and are inspired to try some of them at home. Bye.